high 82 to 84. For tonight, mainly clear, low 61 to 66. Then a partly sunny day for tomorrow with a high Wednesday 87 to 89. And at night, turning out to be partly cloudy with a low 65 to 69. For Thursday, partial sunshine with a shower or a thunderstorm, high 81 to 87. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Kevin Snyder.
How would you like to become more competitive, effective, and profitable in difficult times? For most of us, the answer is obviously yes. Wednesday morning at 9:05, Greg Kowalik, president of Rapid Development Solutions, will be Adam's guest to tell us how Rapid Development Solutions has helped Fortune 100 customers do just that through the application of innovative technology. It's software for the modern age. Again, that's Wednesday at 9:05 a.m. News you can use from The Source, WOCA 1370 AM and 96.3 FM.
Hey folks, time for this week's super specials at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala. If you've been wanting a bottle brush, now is the time. Bob Wine's is the place. Take your pick from the smaller dwarf size bottle brush, the tall size, and those popular slim bottle brush with prices starting at a super low $15.99. And speaking of trees, you've got to see Bob's huge selection of citrus trees. Just about everyone has special spring discount pricing, and many are bearing fruit right now. Prices start as low as $59.99, and you get a free bag of fertilizer too. And look, there's a BOGO on blueberries. Buy one, get one free. Of course, crepe myrtles, they're here, and Bob has them in a long list of colors, starting as low as $24.99. And when you choose one in dark red, white, or pink, you buy one and you get one at half price. Check them out now, BobWinesCameliaGardens.net, then come to Southeast 38th Street, Ocala. Daily till 4:30 in the same blooming place since 1952.
WOCA. Ocala.
You're listening to AM Ocala Live this Tuesday. Beautiful Tuesday morning. As we are now about 8 minutes past the top of the 9 o'clock hour, it is time for, like the music says, In the Garden with Carol Ann.
There we go.
Ann Baldwin in the studio. Good morning, girl. How you doing?
Good morning. Real good. Real good. It was chilly this morning.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was nice.
It reminds people it's spring.
It's still spring.
It is spring. It is spring, even though we keep, Mother Nature, it's like, get back on your meds. Yeah.
But you know what? It brought some well-needed rain last week.
Yes.
That was good to have.
Yes, it was.
Prior to entering the month of May. We got a little expectation for it to come tomorrow late and then Thursday.
Right.
And then it gets right back to beautiful.
Right. But then it's still looking, and I know we talk a lot of weather on here, and weather is part of gardening, part of landscaping and the rest, and part of Central Florida.
Absolutely.
We have our rainy season, our dry season, our summer, and people don't realize spring and fall and winter.
Yeah.
They all think it's hurricane season or it's summer. Yeah.
Right.
But it looks, just looking 10 day, the 10-day forecast kind of thing is that some of that rain later this week, and then looking towards the middle or end of next week. Again, looking at that same timing. So, though we're still in our dry season because it's only once a week and they're scattered showers, you get that percentage of 5 and 10 people going to get wet, or 50% of the area may see rain. And Marion County's big. That's a lot of area. 50%.
Do you know how big Marion County is? It is bigger than the state of Rhode Island.
Wow, I
did you know that?
Yeah,
I didn't know that either until midday with Joe. He was on here and we were talking, and every now and then, you know as well as I do. I got to fact check him just every now and then. He's got a big nose and a big mustache, so I don't trust that all the time.
That's right.
If he's listening right now, I did that, and come to find out, in the amount of square acres, I think it was, or miles.
Right.
But yeah, it's actually bigger than the state of Rhode Island. That makes you think a little bit.
Oh yeah,
and
the size. Well, that's it. The size of the state of Florida and gardening and landscaping is that we run from all the way from zone. I think it's 11 is like Key West.
Yeah.
And those lower keys, all the way up to, we're zone 8.
Yeah.
Or 8B, 9A.
Yeah.
We're like 9A. Gainesville is considered the 8B. So, you're running up there, and then you get up the Panhandle, and even Jacksonville runs one section of it, and then L.A., the Panhandle, lower Alabama kind of stuff over there. It is another, where you get a little more temperate into the true southern state kind of weather, where you're probably looking at a 7 or a, 7B at least edge on those, the weather zones. And so it's just a huge state. Some states you drive, you take a trip up the Northeast, it takes you an hour to get out of Marion County.
That's true,
It seems like it takes you an hour to get out of Marion County. But then when you finally get out of Florida, you like blow through states.
Right.
Once you get past Carolina and Georgia and Georgia and Carolinas and stuff, then it's like, you hit the Northeast or something, it's like boom, 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 boom. We went through 4 states and, time for dinner.
That makes it feel better too when you get those long trips. It is something, I lived in Pensacola for a while, and that's a ways away. That's 5.5 hours away. And the only time you can say, well, if you drive 5.5 hours, but you're still in the same state, it would be something out west.
Right.
And that's Florida. I think there is sometimes a misconception there, just how big our state is.
Yeah. And even from here
climates.
is what it's from here down to Keys is 8 hours.
Yeah. Here's a little thing. I put together some logic with it, but for the aviation purposes of requirement, they have a commercial requirement where you have to do a 250 nautical cross country.
Okay.
So with some of the other stuff in private, you lead into commercial, you got to do a couple hundred nautical day and night. Right. Well, there's one that we consider the long cross country for commercial, and you have to go a straight line distance from an airport, straight line, 250 nautical miles away.
Okay.
And every, the 6 years I've been instructing, it's always been kind of that question, well, I got to go 250 nautical miles for, or why that distance?
Right.
And truthfully, I do believe that when the thought process was put into that requirement, and everything I've seen in those 6 years, you're literally in 250 nautical miles going to a different climate. Or you're experiencing weather. Okay. You're going to a distance that has weather somewhere else.
Right.
Because think of it this way: like if we were going to go 250 nautical miles south, we'd be in Marathon in the Keys. Mm-hmm. We go 250 nautical miles to the west, we'll be in Pensacola area.
Right.
If we go north 250 nautical miles, we can end up. That's right around the Charleston.
I was going to say, Carolina. Up in the Carolinas.
Yeah, South Carolina. So Charleston type area. And think about just how weather moves through.
Sure.
You're going the distance of seeing yourself be put into a situation where you got to make a decision about whether the weather's just
depending
different.
on the time of year.
Yep.
Yeah, whether or not you may hit snow or you may hit rain.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even if somebody was in the northeast, you go from the beach side to the mountains.
Right.
In some of those areas,
And mind you, that's the logic I put into it. So it's still my opinion. It's not written anywhere.
Right, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's that thing. And same thing with us with the Master Gardener programs.
Yeah.
Is that you're living here in Ocala, you took the Master Gardener program, you lived here for a few years, loved it, participated, you move to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
You go into the county extension office down there and go, hey, I'm a Master Gardener in Marion County. What can I do to become a Master Gardener here? And they're going to tell you, you're going to take part of the course again.
Yeah.
Because you need to know more of the tropical plants.
Yeah.
And same thing, say you were Master Gardener up in Ohio or Michigan or somewhere like that. You come down here, you actually have to take the whole course again.
Is that right?
Because it is that much different. University of the practices are so much different. Turfgrass is way different.
Yeah,
and
that
the
alone,
the plant material is so totally different.
Now, Caroline, I'm still getting to know you. We've been doing a radio show together. So you as Master Gardener, is that you have exploited other counties, or what you consider with your qualifications?
Marion County is just what I've done. I became a Master Gardener in 1996.
Oh wow, okay.
So I've been there a little while. I haven't been active in the last several years, but I hit my 20-year mark, and sort of it's like, okay, you're kind of grandfathered in now.
Yeah,
so I try to stay educated, and I try to participate when I can. But working full time, it's just
sure. Yeah,
I'm just come certain days, it's just like no, I'm not getting out of bed.
Well, and what you do for your job and how you work full time is still centered around
and I still do recommendations, and how Master Gardeners work. It's a volunteer organization.
Yeah,
but we are. Through the University of Florida and the local county extension offices. Okay. So we have 67 counties in Florida, and I believe 63 of them have Master Gardener programs.
Oh, wow.
And they're not necessarily all University of Florida based, but they are land grant colleges.
Okay.
Is where that comes out of.
Gotcha.
That's where the agricultural programs come out of. And so and I don't know what's going to go on with the 2020, 2021 class of Master Gardeners because everything's closed.
Because everything is
closed. And it's not one that I don't think you can really do as a distance learning because you're a volunteer group and a lot of it is hands-on.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it'll come back up. Just may have to skip a year in order to bring it back into play. But you take I believe it's 13-week course.
Yeah.
1 day a week, 8 hours a day. 8 hours each day of that too. So, I mean, if you're employed, you may still be able to do this. A lot of folks are retirees. I was lucky. I was an at-home mom at that time.
Sure.
So I had that spare time to be able to go and do that. But it's intense. It's now it's even more intense than what it was. It is almost college material because you are being trained to answer homeowners' questions as an extension to the extension agent. The extension agent is an extension of the university.
Yep.
Master gardeners are an extension to them.
Yeah.
So you're helping the homeowner answer the questions in lawn and landscape.
Yeah.
And vegetable garden, fruit garden. They don't do small farms. They don't do livestock.
Right.
They don't do anything commercial. It is strictly the homeowner because there's other agents that'll take care of that.
Yeah. See,
but it's and so I mean, and I still use. People will ask me a question, and and one thing the university always said is you don't just recommend a product. Hey, you want to fertilize your lawn? Go get some Scott's Turf Builder. No, you were not allowed to do that.
Right.
Oh, there's many lawn fertilizers out there. You're looking for something that's a slow release.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And so it becomes a little more sometimes vague. People may not like that answer so much, or you give them a list of 3. And I'll still say there are plenty of fungicides in here. How many do you have? What are we looking at? You looking for a concentrate or you want something ready to go?
Yeah.
I'll sell you what you want, but I still have the mentality and still work with the mentality of give the customer the proper item.
Yeah.
But giving them, that option. Here's the different chemicals that are
because like we've done, and specifically talking about fertilizers that we've done.
Yeah.
You talk about what the fertilizers are and where they are helpful, what they're there for.
Right.
And then they can, be pointed in the direction, oh, well then what does that leave my options for? And then you can say, yeah, these are the options and these of the 5 are the best 3.
Right.
Go ahead and choose.
And even if that, then you can go, hey, cost effectiveness, which one are you getting your better value from?
Yeah.
And come down through there. And so there's all kinds of different ways, but it is, that's the university and I wish I could have, well, right now they're not active either. Be more active on a regular basis, but I always feel, even though I don't do this program as a Master Gardener, I am the Master Gardener doing the program.
Right.
So I use the little m and little g doing this part of it.
The lowercase letters.
Yeah, the lowercase letters.
We got a caller. We know who this is. Good morning, sir. You're on the air with Ann Baldwin.
No surprises.
No surprise.
Good morning, garden friends.
Good morning.
Good morning, partner.
See, I was reading in a magazine the other day something kind of interesting that I never knew before. And it's kind of about hydrangea plants, and there's quite a variety of them. I know they grow up in Wisconsin because we always had them around the house and down here. But in the article, it says that you can add neurotic acid to the soil to change or add color to the plant. Did you ever hear of that?
I've never heard you say adding muriatic acid, like swimming pool acid.
Yeah,
I never heard that.
Neuratic acid. Yeah, that's what it said in the magazine. And it was applied to the soil to change or to add color to the hydrangeum plant.
Well, because what you're doing usually, if you change the pH, the macrophylla strain or varieties of hydrangeas can be changed by the pH in the soil. So if you add lime to, say you have a purple one or a blue one growing, and you add lime, you're going to get pink. You change that pH, you raise that pH up into more alkaline, you're going to get your pink colors. If, say, you're a pink, a little bit of blue going in it, and you want more blue, you're going to put a soil acidifier in, unless it's something, and I think. Are you looking that up?
Yeah, I'm trying to
see whether or not that is, because I know it wouldn't be muriatic acid. That's like swimming pool acid and stuff like that. You wouldn't be dumping that on the ground. But there's actually, sulfur is a bit of an acidifier. There's some other aluminum. I think it's an aluminum product, aluminum like sulfate kind of thing that you can put in that will do that. And it actually says soil acidifier makes hydrangeas blue. It's the cover on one of the bags, and that you can add and change that pH and get more blue out of those. But yeah, we can grow hydrangeas down here. They can be a little difficult to get established. And people get a little frustrated because you got to have them in the right lighting. That's the biggest thing. And usually it's I say filtered light. They like a high canopy over them. So if you have established trees in the landscape and you can tuck some up underneath there, they're going to, when they take hold, you're going to be good.
Yeah, I was over at Lowe's the other day, and I see quite a few of them out there. They're such a beautiful plant, and I'm thinking of putting a couple around the side of the house. But I suppose I should keep them on the sunny side.
No, in shade. Shade, morning.
Keep them in the shady
shady side of the house, yeah, because they don't like full sun. They will burn up and in a hurry. They filtered light. That's why I say in a high canopy, so you can tuck it up underneath, some established trees that are there. Trees that are generally either going to keep their leaves or keep most of their leaves throughout the year, or an area that, say, in the wintertime, if they do lose their leaves, something else is providing some shade, especially in the afternoon.
Okay, and they'll blossom for most of the summer, if I can remember right, and then after that you can prune them?
You prune them, yeah, some of them, and I always get them messed up, some of them you prune after blooming in the fall, others you prune in the spring, and because they're going to bloom on the new growth. In springtime. So it's usually what you're pruning them as, the flowers are finished. You're cutting and trimming some of that. So you may not even really need to prune much of anything unless it gets damaged by cold. I know. I know. My mother-in-law had a huge one, 1, 2, 5. I don't know how many. It was around a big pine tree, and it was just happy as can be. I don't recall her ever doing anything to them. Except maybe, instead of throwing the dishwater on the azaleas one time, she might have taken and thrown it on the hydrangeas once. So, no, it was, nothing fancy, no fertilizer. I don't recall her ever fertilizing anything.
Yeah.
I mean, we would cut stuff. We would cut stuff when it.
They were about 4, maybe even up to 5 feet high.
Yeah.
We let them grow that high, and they really filled out. They were beautiful. We as kids we always called them. They were white. We always called them snowballs.
Snowball, and that is one of the names of one of the white ones is the snowball. People do call it snowball. And then of course you've got the endless summer varieties that are it's just a patented hybridized version. But I mean, hers just always used to do wonders. And they can actually be a dried flower too for arrangements.
Oh, wow.
That you just, let it sit out there till that flower's done and it loses all its color and they just look like little lacy, lacy ball, balls of spent flowers, but I mean, it's a very delicate look, as a dried flower.
Now, it said what it brought up, some of the stuff was the ammonia sulfate and aluminum sulfate in lieu of it, but nothing, it had a thing on there for the other one we talked about, and it said absolutely not. The other one was, what was it, what we said?
Muriatic?
Muriatic.
Yeah, no, that's not, that wouldn't be a good thing that wouldn't be a good thing to, I don't think.
But ammonia sulfate and the aluminum sulfate to change the pH levels, incorporating a natural acid, organic materials, and that would kind of bring about the bluish color.
Right.
And they say coffee grounds are slightly acidic.
Right.
And that adds to it. And they say, though, that it's something to be cautious about, as you have to consistently test the pH of the soil as you continue to do that.
Well, with something like that, I mean, and you can tell how your plants are reacting.
Yeah.
If you can tell if you've messed up on some of that, because the plants just begin to decline or just not do as well. It's like, oops, wait a minute, a little too much on that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks again for your education. Really enjoy your program.
Sure.
Take care and stay healthy.
Thank you. You too. Stay well.
Thanks, partner.
Yeah. And that's with a lot of stuff. A lot of people get into they're trying to use some of the household, the Epsom salts things, or the coffee grounds things, and they each have their place.
Yeah.
I mean, I would probably maybe compost maybe more of my coffee grounds. Certain plants really do like them, but not all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not every time every week that you got all your coffee grounds saved up that you run out and throw them under your rose bushes.
Right.
You might do this in the springtime as add some, throw the rest into the compost pile, and do them that way. Epsom salts, if you're in a constant need to add magnesium to your plants, you may need to find out why. Mm-hmm. What are you doing that's binding up the magnesium uptake out of the fertilizers you're using, unless you're not using a fertilizer that has micronutrients in it that needs that extra boost. But sometimes it's the soil pH will bind nutrition into the soil. That plant can't take it. It's there, but it can't take it. So when we add or make a foliar spray of something, it takes it in. Woohoo! I now look better, but I've not corrected the problem.
Huh.
That's just like, I feel better if I don't drink so much caffeine.
Right.
But I'm not having coffee in the morning, but I'm slamming down 2 Red Bulls every afternoon, and I don't feel good. Well, all you did was substitute one for another. You didn't correct the problem, or something like that. Or I'm not taking in any caffeine anymore, and now I've got a headache. Wait a minute, you just went overboard. Find out what the problem is on there.
Yeah, interesting.
We can. Plants, if pHs are not right, and of course right now with the extension office being closed and university is all remote things, I don't know if there's anybody actually on campus. I don't believe there is, unless there's some research work being done. So trying to send a pH sample off to the university, or a soil sample to them, or having it tested by master gardeners is like non-existent. Those little capsulized test kits, I don't know how well they work, because you don't have a baseline professional one to go by. Same thing with the probes. Unless you've have the master gardeners check your pH, and you check with yours and see how far your scale is off. Just like you go to the doctor's office. You step on the scale and you go, 145, my scale says I weigh 140. Well, adjust your scale. His is going to be more, his is the one that you're going to, that they're going to base your medication and your well-being from. So you need to do your adjustment based on that.
The false sense of what,
Or the whole thing of maybe you like your doctor's scale because it likes you more. Who knows? But yeah, so soil pH things, it's one of those kind of things of checking and test, you really need to have something to base it against.
Yeah.
We're at the bottom of the hour.
We're at the bottom of the hour as we're amidst the program of In the Garden with Ann Baldwin. We're going to take a short break here as we made it to the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more. Any questions you have, give us a call, 622-9622. We'll be back right after this. WOCA Ocala, WOCA The Source, 96.3 FM, 1370 AM. Back after this.
Has predicted that President Trump will use the coronavirus outbreak to try to delay November's election. The president denies it.
I never even thought of changing the date of the election. Why would I do that? November 3rd. It's a good number. No, I look forward to that election, and that was just made-up propaganda, not by him, but by some of the many people that are working, writing little statements.
In New Zealand, new daily COVID-19 cases have fallen to the single digits, and Fox's Simon Owen reports today.
One of the world's strictest coronavirus lockdowns is relaxed.
There is no widespread undetected community transmission in New Zealand. We have won that battle, but we must remain vigilant if we're to keep it that way.
Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern's hard and fast approach to the pandemic has been broadly praised, although some critics are questioning whether such stringent measures were really necessary.
America's listening to Fox News.
Right now, today, Lowe's is open. Open to build, open to reassure, open to provide the help, support, and supplies that keep our homes working. Open to the idea that when we work together, we can bring it all together. It's what we've always done and what we'll continue to do. Because home is what unites us. Lowe's, here for you, in store or 24/7 at Lowe's.com.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company helps you customize your renter's insurance so you only pay for what you need. Unlike things you paid for you didn't need, like that much-needed 125-inch flat-screen TV.
It's hurting my eyes a lot.
For your 200-square-foot apartment.
My neck isn't so much stiff as it's completely stuck.
With Liberty Mutual, get customized renter's insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Uh-oh, I'm seeing color splotches.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
My fellow conservatives, please stay safe during this COVID-19 crisis. I'm Ryan Chamberlain, candidate for Congress. Here's my plan to protect us from future pandemics. First, stop doing business with communist China. Second, let's replenish our emergency medical stockpile and then pay off the national debt to keep our dollar strong. And finally, let's build the wall. I'm Ryan Chamberlain, and I approve this message. Now let's fire Nancy Pelosi and put America first. Paid for by Ryan Chamberlain for Congress, District 3.
A partly sunny day today, high 82 to 84. For tonight, mainly clear, low 61 to 66. Then a partly sunny day for tomorrow with a high Wednesday, 87 to 89. And at night, turning out to be partly cloudy with a low 65 to 69. For Thursday, partial sunshine with a shower or a thunderstorm, high 81 to 87. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Kevin Snyder.
How would you like to become more competitive, effective, and profitable in difficult times? For most of us, the answer is obviously yes. Wednesday morning at 9:05, Greg Kowalik, president of Rapid Development Solutions, will be Adam's guest to tell us how Rapid Development Solutions has helped Fortune 100 customers do just that through the application of innovative technology. It's software for the modern age. Again, that's Wednesday at 9:05 a.m. News you can use from The Source, WOCA 1370 AM and 96.3 FM.
Hey folks, time for this week's super specials at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala. If you've been wanting a bottle brush, now is the time. Bob Wine's is the place. Take your pick from the smaller dwarf size bottle brush, the tall size, and those popular slim bottle brush with prices starting at a super low $15.99. And speaking of trees, you've got to see Bob's huge selection of citrus trees. Just about every one has special spring discount pricing, and many are bearing fruit right now. Prices start as low as $59.99, and you get a free bag of fertilizer too. And look, there's a BOGO on blueberries. Buy one, get one free. Of course, crepe myrtles, they're here, and Bob has them in a long list of colors, starting as low as $24.99. And when you choose one in dark red, white, or pink, you buy one and you get one at half price. Check them out now, BobWinesCameliaGardens.net, then come to Southeast 38th Street, Ocala. Daily till 4:30 in the same blooming place since 1952.
Career Source Citrus Levy Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the third Wednesday of each month at 9:30 a.m. to Career Source Citrus Levy Marion and learn how they can help you.
Hi, this is Brittany from Mike Scott Plumbing. I wanted to take a moment to let you know that during these tough times, Mike Scott Plumbing is still here, ready to help you in every way we can. We know life doesn't just stop, and when it breaks, we know your plumbing doesn't just magically start working again. Mike Scott Plumbing is taking every precaution to ensure your safety by following and exceeding all the guidelines set forth by the CDC for COVID-19, as well as local districts. As an essential business, we are operating at full capacity to ensure we get your problem solved day, night, or weekends. We're all in this together. We hope you are all staying safe during these trying times. And remember, if water runs through it, we do it. 866-314-4443. Call day or night. That number again is 866-314-4443. Mike Scott Plumbing.
Visit Southeastern Trailers today. We have new and used enclosed cargo and open utility trailers, along with built-to-order trailers. We service all brands of cargo and utility trailers, installation of hitches, wiring and electric brake controls, and installation of trailer accessories, with locations in Ocala and Ormond Beach to serve all of Central Florida. Call 1-888-622-1816. Again, that's 1-888-622-1816.
I'll have him say it for me there. So you're listening to AM Ocala Live, WOCA, The Source, 96.3 FM, 1370 AM. Back from our break as we're coming up on 20 minutes before the top of the 10 o'clock hour. A lot of show left here as we're in the guard with Ann Baldwin. As before the break, we had our caller. We were talking a little bit about the acidity of what would be there to get your hydrangeas to color a little bit.
And a nutritional kind of thing. That, when you walk into your favorite big box store, your favorite nursery, and you walk over to their fertilizer section, and sometimes I get the people go, "There's so many choices." And some of it is very specialized, but then you can also come down here and get the very basic.
Yeah.
You can get that balanced, simple fertilizer, 666, 10, 10, 10, and that it's just sometimes read the back of the bag. Don't just look at the pretty picture on the front that, it shows, vegetables and flowers and trees and shrubs on it. Turn the bag over.
Yeah.
And read where this is, best for, and also read that ingredient thing. We have a tendency to read where things are manufactured, or we'll read the calorie and sugar content on the products we're feeding ourselves.
Right.
But we might need to take another look at what we're feeding our plants too. Not that we're going to feed them something bad for them. I don't think there's any fertilizer that would harm another plant unless you were trying to use a lawn weed and feed fertilizer on your landscape.
Sure.
Those we're using the right thing, that having breakfast cereal for dinner doesn't harm you. It's but on something like that is turn that bag over, read that list. The numbers that are on the front of that bag, the 666, the 10-10-10, the 24, whatever. Those are the main. That's telling you what the macro, the number one elements are that plants need for proper growth and that they can sustain. The other stuff, the micronutrients, are the good stuff. Hey, it's been fortified with 17, vitamins and minerals, and that's that same kind of thing. You're looking for that magnesium and manganese and boron and yes, chlorine, sulfur, different things, iron, zinc, molybdenum. There's all kinds of other ingredients in there that you're looking for, because these plants all need that too. It's not just Epsom salts is taking the magnesium tablet thinking you're getting a 1 a day.
Right.
It's not the same thing. It will help to correct some deficiencies, but it's not the whole shebang. So, we were talking about checking the soil pH. If you can do that and check and find out where your pH is, most plants prefer that slightly acidic. 7 is neutral on a pH scale. Mm-hmm. Above the 7, getting over a 7.5, and you're going to see plants struggle. There's not too many plants who want to be on that alkaline side.
Okay.
They prefer to be more on the acidic.
Yeah.
So a 6.5 is that really good range for most plants. Now you get into your azaleas and things like that. They want it lower than that. They want it more acidic.
Yeah.
So everybody's who's running out and going, I need to lime the lawn. Well, not unless you have a check on your pH.
Yeah.
We have a lot of lime in our ground, in our soils anyway. So it's not something we run out and do. That's what you check and see. What does it actually need?
Wow.
There's a lot of science in it. But if you're looking at things, many of your fertilizers now do have not necessarily your scoop and melt, the liquid fertilizers, the Miracle Grows, those kind of things, don't necessarily have a whole lot of those other things. They may have some trace elements in them. They're more of a very fast release fertilizer that gives it that quick boom, bang. Yeah, lots of plant, not necessarily a lot of bloom, unless you change up and buy the other one that is the middle number on it, and using that in the right way. But your granulated fertilizers, I wish I'd have brought something that would have given me a list as showing you something that, I'd hold up to the camera there and tell you. But looking at a lot of those things, say a palm fertilizer. Palms, everybody wants to give palms Epsom salts. Good palm fertilizers are going to have magnesium.
Yeah.
And they're going to you're feeding that palm on a regular basis, especially a younger palm, hasn't been in the ground too many years. Most plants after about 5-6 years don't need a whole lot of extra, but those first few years of giving a good palm fertilizer 3 or 4 times a year, you're set to go. No deficiencies.
Yeah.
And just going with that proper planting initially is another one of those things, is getting it in the right place, watering it properly, feeding it properly, keeping the lawn fertilizer. If you have to use your weed and feed stuff, stay away from the root system, and which is almost impossible on any tree or shrub to use a weed and feed in the lawn and not get it over your root system of especially larger trees.
Larger trees, yeah.
Because their root systems are out about as far as their tree canopy is.
Yeah.
So
to
use a weed and feed almost is not feasible. But other plants and things like that, and we don't put it. I'm not a fan of liquid fertilizers. People know that they have their place, but usually not in the landscape too much. And I'm not a fan of the ones you pound in the ground, the fertilizer spikes, because usually the directions will tell you to put it out at the drip line.
Yeah.
Your best feeder roots are within 2 feet of the trunk of that tree. Huh. Those are the ones that are going to take that through the best system. So when we're fertilizing, but not all the way out here.
Yeah.
Out here you're hitting some of the, but the best ones are within that 2 feet.
Are they just assuming that's where it will, like you said, the drip and then
your mulch is going to be there, and I don't know how that figures, on that. But I mean, they're a long lasting fertilizer that I guess melts and is picked up. But to me, I'm a bigger fan of the granulated fertilizers used within that 2 feet of that trunk area. And if you're someone who mulches, trying to, some want to use the liquids because, it'll go through the mulch. Well, no, your mulch is going to absorb it. Just going to soak that right in. And you can tell that as if you throw a bucket of water on the ground, wait 20 minutes, pull the mulch back, and where's the water? It's in the mulch.
Yep.
And if you're really fertilizing, pulling that mulch back a little bit away from the trunk of that tree is healthier for the trunk.
Okay.
Gives you a place to put your fertilizer. And if you need to rake some of it back up on there, you can, and cover that back up so it doesn't wash away. And sometimes you can scratch it into the ground just a little bit to, so it, again, doesn't just wash away.
Yeah.
Water it good, and you're good to go to begin that process of the fertilizer melting and being released to the plant over a period of, extended period of 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty good.
The liquid fertilizers, if you're planting annuals, you're doing a nice bed up, you've put your granulated fertilizer in that soil, in the ground, or you've amended with something that may contain fertilizer, and then you plant all your little bedding plants, and you watered it good, you come back tomorrow with your little can of liquid fertilizer, your watering can, that's cool. That's just giving it that boost to get them kicked off, get them started. But after you get them growing, save your money. You already put your fertilizer in there that's going to feed them for an extended time. So it saves you a little bit of that. Saves you some money.
Yeah, there you go. If you have any questions you'd like for Ann, give us a call, 622-9622, as we are coming up 15 minutes before the top of the hour. 622-9622. The one direction I wanted to take things is we got the ag news on, the agricultural news and stuff, and they've been talking a little bit. This happened last week. Ironically, it happened on 420, by the way.
Oh, did it? Okay.
But it was that the industry of the state now being allowed to, has been put into law that they can grow hemp.
Oh,
industrial hemp. And I think they even mentioned today on the Ag News that the processing paperwork for you to be eligible to then grow it is getting started today, and so on and so forth. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about it because a lot of people, I still think, have the misconceptions
that hemp is marijuana.
That it is. What I wanted to talk about was just how many other uses there are with hemp. It's so diverse what you can use it for.
It's an industrial crop.
Yeah,
it's one that does have many.
We were talking a little bit off air at the beginning of the show, just kind of going into how. One of the reasons it become illegal, obviously, with association for cannabis and the THC and the marijuana side of it. But a big thing was that it was so, like you said, an industrial plant that was rivaling some of the other markets, such as I think I had heard timber, but you were talking
timber, and probably both timber and cotton.
Yeah, you were saying the cotton.
Yeah, because it is a. The word just went away.
The
textile in a textile industry kind of thing, as well as in a timber industry. That there's so many different things that can be done with hemp.
Yeah.
That it's
What's interesting about this is the way they were talking about it. Some of the articles out there is that they're wanting to use Florida as the model for the industry of it to then be carried out through the other states when they come along with the process of it. So I guess there's a lot of potential here for like on the agricultural side of industrial hemp being grown here in Florida. And like they said, the model and the expectation is to set the example nationwide about, how it's going to be, grown, farmed, and then used.
Right, in the commodity portion of it, because it will be, and people don't realize how many items are commodity. Corn's a commodity, wheat's a commodity, soybeans a commodity, and that means it's regulated and traded. Traded on commodities markets and regulated by federal government. That you had tobacco and things like that subsidized when crops fail and things like that, or bringing new crops in. That sometimes these things are subsidized. I'm not real familiar, schooled in any of the commercial aspects of agriculture, but it's peanuts. I think I don't know. You can grow peanuts in your backyard, but if you're growing peanuts that you're in quantity, you better have a number. That says yes, you're allowed to. And same thing. Cotton and hemp is another, and that's where they're opening this up into some other crop. Type thing, and I'm sure some of this has to do with the CBD oils are some of those items, as well as the textile uses and the
I think it's interesting because it starts to then you can drift the conversation towards obviously, which is the legalization of marijuana for the recreational stuff. But what we're looking at is actually using the plant, which is what it's been argued for generations about what you can do with this product, what you can do with this plant. Now, what's fascinating is kind of touching on the hemp and going into when you mentioned peanuts. I guess that they said on the agricultural news that they're trying to tell Americans to go out and buy more peanut butter.
Yes,
because they're having an influx of peanuts.
Right now, if you get a good peanut year, and right now with everything shut down, the schools are closed. This and that. I saw that they just it was on the news this morning. How many thousands of pounds was donated?
Is that right?
Of peanut butter donated into what was it? Well, one of the food bank systems. And allowing this to be just packaged up and given out as
because they've just got too much.
Just too much of it. But you think about, we no longer have those programs of what were they? It was through Department of Agriculture. Instead of food, on top of food stamps, you could also qualify to get the commodities, and that's what they were. The government cheese.
Government cheese. Okay.
Government cheese, the peanut butter, pasta, things like that.
The WIC items.
Well, not necessarily WIC. I mean, it was actually, it wasn't from the grocery store. You actually went once a month or once every, whatever they did it, every 6 months, every 2 months. And you present. You had called, made sure your income fell in that, and you got that 3-pound block of American cheese. You got the bag of rice, the bag of spaghetti, the pack of beans. You got peanut butter. You got it was commodities. It was staple items that are produced by, you figure, wheat for your wheat, rice, that kind of stuff. I think they did powdered milk in there. Again, from the all of those industries that are commodity type items. We no longer do that. And there's, and it doesn't make sense, because, I mean, sometimes it really helped those who didn't necessarily fall through the cracks, but maybe your income was too high to get much food stamp wise, and that this really supplemented that gap. That extra, that gap that allowed you to, maybe to be able to go to the store and buy more milk and the cereal, because now you have these other items that
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, considering. So now, not only with the idea of talking plant-wise peanuts and stuff, is and then there was an article, we talked about this in the 8 o'clock hour, come out from Tyson. So there are some trickle-down consequences to what we've been doing in lieu of trying to flatten the curve with the pandemic of COVID-19. And part of that, right away I had read an article, this was like maybe a week into our stay-at-home order, was the thing with milk, that they were dumping
milk. That
like
was
80,000 gallons of milk.
Crazy.
And then you're saying that's along that same lines of why they're telling you to go buy some peanut butter, and then and then you have this gap, this break in the chain that Tyson Chicken is talking about yesterday, where between your processing plant for chicken and pork, we're not there, and all people are doing is staying home and then going to the grocery store and staying home and eating.
We're eating and
so here's a consequence of that.
Cooking more meals for the family and things like that. But now this started, there was a run on freezers.
Yeah, you were telling me about that in lieu of the purchase factor
right now,
of that.
You're not going to walk in a store, I don't think, right now and walk out with a freezer.
Right.
You are going to have to order that.
And from what I understand, people are freezing toilet paper, too.
I've heard that. Yeah. Of course, I think that was just to keep it under lock and key.
There's a place to hide it.
On the lowdown, yeah. But, it's with those, and that, I almost fall back on, okay, we're keeping our food supply so clean, but how come you've got this virus going through your plant? Are you not really keeping it as clean as it could have been?
Right.
Or checking and allowing your employees, your associates in that industry to have that time off?
Yeah.
Understanding that we got to produce more. So you're overworking some people, and it's like, okay, keep production going, but back down your people, give them a chance to rest.
So here now we're seeing some of those trickle down consequences of the action of it. It's just fascinating to see. Like I said, we brought back the Ag News to have that on more often, and coming at the top of the 10 o'clock, we'll have This Land of Ours, where we'll talk some other stuff, which is really good because the more I've heard it, I pay attention to it in the idea of just how interesting of a time things are now, considering the way we are purchasing food during the pandemic. But you got to understand that food's got to come from somewhere. So when you think of the idea of growing that food, and that's something we were talking about last week, right?
Yeah.
People taking into account their home gardening, their victory gardens themselves, and then that's where I talk about a little bit of that disinformation, that separation of maybe generations not understing not only just what other vegetables are out there, but where those vegetables come from.
Where food comes from. And it was funny. Years ago, Master Gardeners, we used to do a program with preschool children at October. We called it a pumpkin patch. It was like a little fall thing, and we would have the daycare centers bring their 4-age, that pre-kindergarten age kids out and tour through the garden, and we talked about peanuts, and you would not believe how many parents did not know how peanuts grew. Most kids knew that peanuts came from Mr. Peanut. They came out of the jar that Mom bought at Winn-Dixie, and it's like, wow, did you know that here's a peanut plant, and they're growing underground?
Yeah. Which a lot of people don't.
I think it comes off a tree.
Off a tree.
And I mean, you always want to find the spaghetti tree and get that one going. We're going to harvest the spaghetti.
This one has spaghetti. This one has peanuts. This one has money.
We know we did spaghetti. You got spaghetti. You got vermicelli. You got angel hair. It was crafted.
That's right.
We found the elbow macaroni bush over here, and so. But no, it is amazing how. And then of course, kids think chicken comes in a nugget.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dinosaur shapes, and that it's, maybe more of let's process this at home, minimally processed foods, learning to cook a little more and do a little more of that.
And I think it's all interesting, and I think in a way, that's what's different about, let's say, generations. Like if we look back, I think there was an understanding about where food came from and what the expectations were for consuming it and growing it and raising it and the livestock to that. And I think that's gone by the wayside a little bit, as so much of the production of what's being done is just kind of, like you said, just it's there. The people that become aware then when it comes to livestock, those are the ones with the PETA sending out the videos saying, look what they do, the treatment of animals and so on and so forth. Although all of that is starting its own revolution in a way, and so on and so forth. It's just an interesting thing nonetheless. And no matter when you talk about a gap in the food chain when it comes to Tyson chicken, well, at some point, what feeds the chickens is the grain, and then what's grown for them, and then where it's consumed there, and then so it's
a much larger picture than just.
And it sounds cheesy, but we are all connected in the great circle of eating alive. But we got a caller. Good morning, WOCA. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. There was a movie made in the 80s called Race Against the Harvest. It starred Wayne Rogers and Earl Holliman. It was about crews of men that went out and cut wheat from Kansas to the Canadian border at harvest time.
Okay.
It was a great little movie.
Cool.
If you ever want to look at it, it's called Race Against the Harvest.
Race Against the Harvest.
Inexperienced. Interesting. Well, thanks for the call, partner.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Just something different. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. Yeah, it's got it on Amazon. In 1987, that came out.
Okay.
Interesting. But so nonetheless, it's just kind of interesting how all that can play out, together. And what started that conversation was the idea of the hemp.
Right.
And hey, that's for Florida.
It is.
Cows.
It is. That's
oranges, hemp. Bring it.
Bring it all the produce, all the stuff.
That'll do it for In the Garden with Ann Baldwin. Thank you very much for hanging out with me for an hour there, girl.
My pleasure.
We look forward to next week. And until then, we're going to take our break here. Stay tuned. Sunrise Automotive, Matt Gibbs in the studio next. We'll be back right after this. WOCA Ocala.
I'm Chris Foster. The White House is giving guidelines to states for stepping up coronavirus testing.
President Trump told reporters at the White House that the government is working to double testing capacity by next month. The president said the administration will work with states to focus on hot spots and step up contact tracing, saying states need to reopen as quickly as possible, but safely.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland. Among restrictions being loosened, businesses in Texas can open starting Friday at 25% occupancy. Governor Greg Abbott tells Fox's Sean Hannity,
we need to get back to business, allow everybody to sell their goods at 25%. We know that's not good enough, but if we can do this and prove that we can do it for 2 weeks, then we can take the next step and open up at 50% capacity.
It's primary day in Ohio, with almost all ballots having been cast by mail, except for voters who didn't get one in time or people without a permanent address. America's listening to Fox News.
Because this is a radio commercial, we can't show you images of our Lowe's associates. We can't show you them rebuilding communities, delivering supplies, or providing support during the crisis we're facing now. But if you look around, they're not hard to spot. 300,000 people working to keep your home working. It's what we've always done and what we'll continue to do. Because home is what unites us. Lowe's, here for you in store or 24/7 at Lowe's.com.
There will be parties again soon, and family gatherings. There'll be parades and sporting events and concerts. To help our communities when they come back together, respond to the 2020 census now. Spend a few minutes online today to impact the next 10 years of healthcare, infrastructure, and education. Respond online today to make America's tomorrow brighter. Shape your future. Start here at 2020census.gov. Paid for by U.S. Census Bureau.
How to manage a free-range flock. That's coming up on This Land of Ours.
Maintaining your crops is as important now as it's ever been. Howler, a revolutionary fungicide from AgBiome, can help. It provides long-lasting protection from a broad spectrum of foliar and soil diseases that affect fruits, vegetables, and other specialty crops. Howler is OMRI listed, has multiple modes of action, and has minimal pre-harvest and re-entry intervals. It's flexible, easy to use, and is available right now. Call 855-946-9537 or visit agbiome.com/howler to learn more.
Welcome to the All In for Citrus podcast. There's a new resource available that brings all of Florida's citrus research together, delivering it right to you on your computer, phone, or tablet. Introducing the All In for Citrus podcast from UF IFAS in partnership with Southeast AgNet. The monthly series spans the Sunshine State with research project updates from the UF IFAS statewide citrus team. Listen to the latest episode by searching All In for Citrus on iTunes, your favorite podcasting application, or at citrusindustry.net.
Sometimes when chickens have an entire world to roost, they'll get in their heads that the coop is not the safest place to roost at night. When you're raising birds, you plan to free range, do your best to instill strong roosting habits from the beginning. Placing young birds on roosts at nighttime will help to show them where the ideal sleeping areas are. There are many ways to take precautions to help keep your birds as safe as possible from predators. Consider keeping a rooster with your flock who will keep watch on his hens to alert them of danger. Another possibility might be a livestock guardian dog to help watch out for your chickens. Before adding either of these to your farm, make sure that you do adequate research to make sure you pick out which works best for you and for your farm. If you choose to free-range chickens, you'll need to make sure the rest of your homestead is protected. You can get creative with decorative coverings over flower pots that may be vulnerable, or consider hanging baskets that stay out of the chicken's reach. I'm Kathy Isom, Southeast AgNet.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.